our institutions, our educational system, the policy framework. What kind of system do we think would position us well so that we do not get this very devastating recommendation from the corporate society? And so this is a brief on the first section. The second section promises to be very exciting as well. And I believe that is something that quite a lot of young people will be interested in. And having said that, I want to invite the CEO of the National Youth Authority to give us a welcome address. And in his absence, the Deputy CEO in charge of programs, Mr. Nelson, would welcome participants. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. This is a gathering of young people. I mean, the energies are there, so let's hear from you. Good morning, everybody. Yes, you are most welcome to today's session, particularly this morning's session. This is the third session in the series, and this one is focusing on education. And education particularly, and as was hinted by the MC, because the times have changed. The seasons are not the same. Learning systems are changing and changing so fast. The way instructions are delivered are also not the same. So it calls for a certain rethinking, a certain innovation and creativity. How can students, and not just students at the top, and I mean here, those at the tertiary level alone. Here, we are discussing about students at the lower level as well. How can we all innovate as we adapt to these new changing systems all across us, around us? And we cannot sit at the National Youth Authority, or I'm sure even the ministry responsible for education cannot be at the ministry and pretend to be knowing every single solution. And that is why there is a need for dialogue. Dialoguing with the people who are in the system, either as instructors, teachers, lecturers, administrators, or as students who are also acquiring some knowledge and have happened to found themselves in this whole situation we call pandemic. And so we hope to get your views. We have our panel members who will be joining us to have the discussions. But most importantly, we are brought to here and others who are joining us virtually, not for the symbolic nature of it, but we want to really harness the views of people in the auditorium and also across the regions, so that by the time we get through with it, we will be able to fashion out new ways of learning, new ways of instructing that will not impinge on education of the young people of this country. So on this note, on behalf of the Chief Executive and on behalf also of the Deputy CEO in charge of Finance and Administration, Mrs. Akosia Menu, she's seated here, clap for her. I want to welcome cooperation. Please, it is not a given to all of us to participate. Let's the ideas. Let's synergize and see how best we can get the best way forward for the Ghanaian youth in terms of education. Thank you very much, and you are most welcome.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Deputy CEO. Now, we would immediately want to swing into action. So today, the program is going to be structured this way. We're going to have a guest speaker that will who set the tone for the conversation. And when he's done, there will be a panel, and the panel would dissect the topic. And then participants will have an opportunity to ask questions and make contributions. Having said so, our guest speaker for today is Mr. Daniel Coney. Mr. Daniel Coney is a senior assistant registrar and an instructional technologist from the University of Education, Winneba. And he would be our guest speaker, taking us through the subject matter. So, Mr. Daniel, the floor is yours.
I just want to touch the seat before I come.
Exactly.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and all protocols observed. I'm so honored to be given the opportunity to be the guest speaker for this occasion. When you are invited as a guest speaker, you ask yourself, why me? Because of course, you look around and you know that there are a lot of people who could deliver, but then they say you should come. So when I had a notice, one important thing is always to find out the target audience. So I called the moderator, the convener. Please, who are the target audience? Oh, you come. It's a cool job. Don't worry, you come. So I knew I was coming to meet junior high school and then KG people, only for me to come and see big men, professors, doctors, and all that. Then that means that I'm hot. But you see, when there is nothing tangible to say, you find something reasonable to say. My permission to move on. Looking at the audience, something just rings in my mind. I remember one time I invited one of our students to go and present on a topic, and that is time management. The student didn't ask of the target audience. So he just prepared everything. I know him to be very eloquent. Prepared everything, his slides, everything, and then moved on. He got there, and he was introduced. The way he entered, with all the confidence, with his tablet, all the details are on it, and with the shoe, the guys, sometimes the shoe will be pointing to the sky like that. Moving like that, he got to the floor, and then they introduced the target audience to him. These are your target audience. Then they introduced him to. After the introduction, then they said he was about to deliver. I said, oh, wait a moment. Let's introduce the panel members. And the topic is time management. So here we find Professor Ama Benin, who is a professor in time management. We have Dr. Esi Nyako, who is a doctor in time management. She has served on the time management committee for the past 25 years. Now the guy started shivering. So instantly, he knew he was in trouble. Then all of a sudden, when the mic was given to him, he started. Ladies and gentlemen. You know what? So that ended the show. I wish I could do same with my throat. But you see, with the COVID, if I start that way, people would think I have it now. So now I'm put to a tight corner. Right. I read the letter and I saw the theme. I'm not going to speak for more than 15 minutes. And I saw the theme. And the theme was youth engagement in mitigating the impact of COVID-19. The impact of COVID-19. The need for innovation and creativity. When I looked at the topic, I said, wow, this team is the best team we can have. Because the first word there is youth. And you know who youth is. Different nations, different people have how they define their youth. If you go to countries where majority of the people survive up to 120 years before they die, then the youth, if you are 70, 80 years, you are youth. But if you come to Ghana here, we are struggling to get to 70. So it means that you cannot be 50 and say that you are youth. And when we talk about youth, here we are referring to people with fresh blood, people with energy, people with the will, the desire, the vigor to propel the nation to its destination. That is the youth. The theme didn't say that people engage, said the youth, because it's the youth that has the power. And that's why we say that the nation rests on the shoulder of the youth. If the youth say that let's move, we can move. If they say we won't go, we are there. And that is why you are being engaged in this discussion. I have to probably rip or paraphrase the theme, bring it down a little. What my understanding is about the theme is that which role is the youth going to play as far as creativity and innovativeness is concerned to reduce the effects or the impact of COVID-19 in all the sectors of our lives. And that is why for the past days, we have looked at the impact on job and business, the impact on all other industries. Today, we are looking at that has to do with education. So it means that where we talk about innovativeness, then it means that there is a challenge. It means that there's a challenge. So it means now we are confronted with a challenge. Education is something that is unique, something that can propel the nation to its destination. No nation can get to his or her destination without education. So, the need to look at the kind of changes, the kind of transformation that education is undergoing, as far as this menace is concerned, is vital. Education, no matter how it is, has an objective or focus. It aims at knowledge acquisition, skill acquisition, morals, values, attitudes, and all that. And that is why if you have education, and your education focuses on only skill and knowledge minus values, we say that that kind of education is detrimental to society. So the totality of education should include not only the skill and knowledge, but the values that will propel the attitude, so that the skill and the knowledge will be driven towards positive ends, and that will bring about something productive. Productivity is what we want. And that is why education is so important. That is why the president of the nation and his government has given special treatment to education, that at least in every household, we don't have to have an illiterate there. We should have if nothing at all, by, let's say, 5 years or 6 years, everybody should be educated. And that's how come we had the free SHS. And then the basic education and all that. So education is key. Now, with education focuses on addressing problems and challenges in the society. When there is a challenge in the society, education aims at addressing it. In all sectors, be it the traditional institution, religious, the industries, business, wherever you find yourself, education is key. So, if the youth